Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's talk about why there is so much auto battle. And this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I thought the timing was good now because I just put up videos of Autobattle's Invitational Tournament, where we saw the top players going at each other in auto battle. And also there is a raid going on where I am farming the level 100 solo on auto battle, and I'll play that in the background because it will be relevant partway through the talk. But a little while back, someone on Reddit put up an interesting thread asking something like, is auto battle fun? And although this person made an effort to come across as neutral, if you read between the lines, you got the impression that this person thought that users doing manual play were having more real fun than users doing autoplay, and that therefore manual play was the superior experience. And this person said as much, but they were an older player coming from consoles. I get where this person is coming from because I'm old too. I might be older than all the other content creators. And I have a lot of fond memories of playing console games. But I also have a lot of experience with Japanese mobile games, over 5 years now, so I thought I would make this video to explain why there's so much auto battle in War of the Visions, and also how auto battle is set up in this game to be a legitimately tactical experience. Japanese mobile games in the industry are so different from the world of console games of the 80s, 90s, and aughts that gamers outside of Japan have had severe whiplash when trying their first Japanese mobile game, and a lot of the complaints we see on Reddit that are like the company should do this or the game should be that way originate from previous experience with console games and being new to mobile games and not understanding them. This is where seeing things from the point of view of not only the company, but the mobile game industry and then the country of Japan as a whole can really clear things up. I'm not going to talk about Japan in this video, maybe in a future video. I'll set up the structure of this video, so I will talk about auto battle in PvE first, and then auto battle in PvP next. So, why is there so much auto battle in PvE in War of the Visions? The short answer is because there must be, or there would be no game at all. The long answer is very long, so here we go. Console tactics games and Japanese mobile games are kind of directly at odds with each other, and when I heard the announcement that Square and Gumi were working on a tactics-style mobile game, my first reaction was of skepticism. Console tactics games center around menus and micromanagement and slow unit progress, which is a perfect fit for mobile games. But also battle is extremely involved, where you have lots to keep in mind, and one battle can go for 20, 30 minutes, even an hour, as is often the case in Autobattle 64. And in all, it can take 40, 60, 80 hours for a playthrough, then you're done, or you can go back, start a new game or a new game plus, and then try for a different ending, use a different team. That's a game experience for hardcore players that is very attention intensive. Meanwhile, in mobile games, play sessions are generally short, 10 minutes on the long end, 3 or fewer minutes generally. The reason for that is because mobile games survive by long-term investment from users over the course of months and years, and from users of all playstyles, from casual to hardcore. Anyone can do a handful of 2-minute play sessions. Not many players can or want to do even one intense 20-minute play session, and especially not every day for weeks and months. Both experiences can be time-intensive, but because of auto battle, War of the Visions is less attention-intensive, if that makes sense. So you can't have a mobile game be finished after 40 hours of play. There's just no market for mobile games that cost $60. But also you can't have a game that is too demanding day after day after day. Most people would burn out. Mobile games, as they are not an ideal experience, but it's what survives in the current environment, so that's what we get, take it or leave it. Monster Strike and Puzzles & Dragons are the kings of Japanese mobile games in my opinion, making a ton of money and going strong for 6-7 years. And they have mastered the art of maintaining interest over a long period of time. One advantage that they have over many other mobile games is that they have easy interfaces of a single finger tapping, but they can get complex mechanics-wise for the players that want it, and they are action and puzzle-oriented, also good for short sessions. Again, for the majority of players, it's easier to stomach playing 30 2-minute sessions than it is to play one 20-minute session. Even if the total time is longer, it takes less sustained attention. Does that reflect the sad phenomena of our shorter attention span in this digital internet age? Probably, but again, it's what we got. But why is there so much grinding in the first place? There is the argument that the more time you spend in the game, the more likely you are to spend money, and I believe that, but also the company just wants more engagement. They want the metrics, they want the eyeballs, because that's something they can show to investors. Look at our huge installed user base, look at how much time they're spending in the game. There are a million things now fighting for our attention every day, and there's only 24 hours in the day, so engagement is valuable. That is something that they can sell too. If you think you are pulling a fast one on the company by being free to play, you're only fooling yourself, because the company is still getting what they want from you. So how do we reconcile the attention and time-intensive gameplay of a console tactics game with the casual, user-friendly world of the mobile game? As we can see in War of the Visions, it's lots of auto battle, but also auto farming and skip tickets, also smaller maps, fewer enemies, weaker enemies, shorter battles, skip animations, and speed multipliers. For mobile games, you have to lower the bar to entry so more people can get in easily and then stay there, and all of these modifications to battle are for that purpose. Of course, you have high difficulty manual play content for the hardcore players, because you need to cater to them too. But with these compromises to the console tactics system, we have a game that can work in the mobile game industry. It might not be what we want exactly, but again, it's what survives today, and it's better than no game at all. People bemoan that there hasn't been a console sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics, but the truth is there's just no market for it. But there is a market for a modified mobile version in War of the Visions, however, so either be pragmatic and find your fun here, or hang on to your ideal of what a game should be, and go play your old Final Fantasy Tactics again. By the way, if you think the battle gameplay is thin in War of the Visions, there are mobile games out there that have zero, literally zero gameplay at all. It's very nearly a simulation game, if anybody remembers those. Those entire games revolve around collecting stuff and leveling it up. You should see the stuff that never leaves Japan. I've tried a few, and they can be amazing as far as graphics, world design, character design, story, music, and wonderful developers, and I'll still quit the game because there's just no gameplay there. Believe me, War of the Visions is rich and deep compared to the majority of mobile games out there. So that should explain why there's so much auto battle in PvE, to attract casual users, to keep the amount of time active up, and to not burn people out. For a lot of people, the bulk of the play of the game will be in menus, micromanaging, and that can be immensely satisfying. I love that stuff. Alright, before we get to PvP, I wanted to talk about how auto battle can satisfy the tactical craving that hardcore players have. And I think this is one of the most underrated, unknown avenues of high difficulty modes of play in the game. And part of the reason is because it's so different from the traditional console playstyle. A lot of people, including the author of that Reddit post, feel that auto battle is not really playing the game. But let me tell you, in two specific instances, you have players working at the highest levels of tactical thinking, and that is solo auto-farming brutal quests with no deaths, so no one is losing brave, and then solo auto-clearing level 100 raids in one go. And now we can see why I am playing my clears in the background, because I think this is where the game is moving towards, away from raids multiplayer, and then towards solo farming it. For the vast majority of people, especially in global, this is not going to be an option just because people's accounts aren't there yet. But in the long run, I think it's going to be something to work towards. And so here you can see me using characters that I don't usually use, like Erude, or using setups that I don't usually use, like using the physical attack greatsword on Rain. And this is in an attempt to farm this level 100 solo with one clear. As we can see, I'm not getting it solo in one clear, but I'm satisfied with 2 clears for now. Maybe I could get it if my Megamont was level 99 or higher. Maybe Rain is not the best choice here, since even without chains, My better damage dealers are doing like the max damage. And so in these cases, solo farming brutal quests or solo autoing level 100 raids, the battle's not where the play is, that's true, but where the play lies is in putting together a team, observing how it performs in battle, fiddling with the team, observing how it performs again, and repeating until you are able to consistently solo auto it. I highly doubt anyone could pull off brutal farming or auto level 100 raids by accident. You have to consider units and abilities on-off, equipment, positioning, etc. That takes observation, analysis, perseverance, and motivation. If you can pull it off, you are rewarded with quick, efficient farming of the best equipment in the game. And I would have a lot more +5 UR equipment if I put in the effort and figure it out, but I'm not that level of player. So to people that can auto that brutal content or those raids, I bow to you as the master that you are, and more people should recognize that authentic gaming accomplishment. I see some people show off their auto farm brutal teams or solo level 100 raid teams, and they're often apologizing for not playing manual or co-op. And I'm like, no, you are awesome, take pride in that accomplishment. That's something that people should be aiming for. But I think we can see how some old school gamers would not recognize it because it's so different from decades of console gameplay where you control everything every step of the way. I'm trying to think of some kind of precedent outside of playing Final Fantasy Tactics on auto, which is very difficult by the way. It's like being the coach of a team or like a general of an army. Funnily enough, it's somewhat similar to Autobattle, where all battles are auto, but what you control are your party's movements in the field, so you can more or less select your opponents. I say funnily because that's kind of the original game that War of the Visions sprang from. Okay, finally, let's talk about Autobattle in PvP. There are 3 serious types: arena, class matches, and guild battles. And then each of those modes is split into 3 phases, and it's interesting to think about where the play lies in the different modes. The 3 phases, I'll call them team building, opponent selection, and battle, and people often forget how important opponent selection can be. Arena is the freest PvP mode because team building is pretty much unrestricted, and you can try out whatever crazy idea you have. It is the mode most open to experimentation, and that is related to also how robust the opponent selection phase is. And then that enables crazy builds and teams, because you can choose the right opponents to hunt to make your team work. But because team building and opponent selection are so open, battle kind of must be auto, because there just isn't the activity among players where you always have 10 live opponents sitting around waiting to fight someone. There's a reason why class matches are only at a certain time of day. And so in Arena, the play lies in building and then opponent selection, and so since there's no play in battle, it's therefore possible to be always available 24/7. In class matches, opponent selection is pretty much non-existent. All you can really choose is auto or manual. I don't know if that option is available yet in global, but yeah, you can kind of choose what type of opponent you want to face by doing that. And so since your opponent is unknowable before you head into battle, coupled with the build cost restrictions, this is the most restrictive of the 3 modes of PvP. As far as team building, it most rewards you for being less experimental and building more towards the meta so you can win against more opponents, if you're serious about winning. But where the freedom comes in is in the manual battle, and here is perhaps the most difficult, most dynamic mode of play in the game. You may turn out to have a disadvantage in team building or opponent selection, but if your in-battle skills are good enough, you might be able to overcome it. And I acknowledge the unique hardcoreness of heavy class match users, but that doesn't give them permission to look down on everyone else. If you play class matches on auto, you're really putting all of your eggs into the team building basket, and it's kind of the most abstract, impersonal way to play PvP. It's basically just measuring your preparation and your understanding of the metagame versus the actual metagame, and you won't really know how well you're doing until you do a ton of fights. Finally, we get to guild battles where team building is a little restricted. You can't be totally sure who you will fight, so you are encouraged to build towards the meta, and also there are 2 subsequent battles which can influence some build decisions. Opponent selection is also restricted because you can't see all the teams and builds, and then battle is full auto again, so there's actually no phase that is totally free in guild battle. The uniqueness and charm of this mode, besides the 2 battles, lies in the teamwork and inter-guild communication, and that can be the difference between winning and losing, so that too is its own unique experience. So if we distill the 3 modes down to their basic elements, Arena is a playground for team building and experimentation that is also available 24/7. Class matches are a chance for the hardest, corest users to flex their muscles of judgment, adaptability, and tactical thinking. And guild battles promote community and stress teamwork, and building for 2 battles. So every mode is legit, every mode is unique, none is more authentic than the other, and each appeals to different types of users, and we should be grateful that there are so many modes to choose from in the first place. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Autobattle in War of the Visions in particular, but also just in mobile games in general. And hopefully through this video, and then also Autobattle's Invitational Tournament, we can learn to recognize the value, and then also kind of the tactical depth that comes from Autobattle. Alright, I think that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.